go again?
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing?
Once more unto the breach. Dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews, connections in mind. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is the next film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is the final film in Phase 4 of the MCU. It is directed once again by Ryan Coogler and stars Letitia Wright, Lupita Nyong'o, Angela Bassett, and many more. Not, unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman, who sadly passed away in 2020. And this film deals directly with that tragedy where T'Challa, the Black Panther, has passed away, and Wakanda must now forge a new path forward for their nation, and the royal family and all the nation of Wakanda must learn to process their grief and move on, while at the same time a threat arises from the oceans in the form of Namor, the Submariner. Will the Wakandans be able to deal with this threat and all the other threats facing their nation? Now, this video review will contain spoilers of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, as well as some other films and TV shows. I'll be doing my spoiler-free thoughts first and foremost, however. I'll be doing my spoiler thoughts after I give my letter grades, but just so you know, there will be spoilers later on in this review. But with that in mind, let's get into some spoiler-free thoughts on Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Is it a good MCU movie? Is it a good movie in general? Is it worth seeing in the theaters? I would say yes, because as I always say, pretty much all the Marvel movies are varying degrees of good, and this film, really the main hype around this film was how is the MCU and this story going to deal with the unexpected and tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman, given that Marvel publicly stated that they were not going to recast the role of T'Challa. And I'd say this film succeeds in dealing with that issue quite well. Or at the very least, it does what it set out to do. It gives the fans, the audience members, the proper amount of respectful acknowledgement of what happened, the passing, a celebration of his life, and not only just the character in story and movie-wise, but also the person of Chadwick Boseman. It does a good job of that. And really, this whole movie is about, dealing with grief and loss and how to move on in a world without the people that you care about. Obviously, in the fictional universe, there's the people who knew, the characters who knew and loved T'Challa, namely his sister Shuri, the Queen Mother, Nakia, and all the others, but also the actors and actresses who knew Chadwick Boseman personally, as well as his immediate family. So, like I said, there's a lot of process of grief, and really this is a relief that this movie is as good as it is with that acknowledgement, and it handles that respectful, reflection and moving on very well. However, I will say it's not flawless in that regard. And one of the things that I think it may be an accidental message of the movie, where the message being that grief can get in the way of you dealing with, being able to move on, being able to deal with the here and now. Where Shuri, who is the princess of Wakanda and still the chief scientist of Wakanda, and she is having a harder time than others moving on after the funeral of T'Challa. And then in the midst of this, we get to see Namor come onto the scene, played by I hope I pronounced his name correct, Tenoch Huerta Mejia. I don't know if I pronounced it wrong. I apologize. Namor is an interesting character. I don't know much about him as a comics character. However, he is an intriguing character, almost like a mirror image of Shuri, and a effective foil for her in that he is able to reveal things in Shuri's life that she doesn't necessarily want to admit in herself. and that is a very interesting dynamic, and I think that they play that up well. However, I don't think they spend enough time on that, because what I said before, that this film doesn't flawlessly handle the message of grief can affect, you know, your enjoyment of the here of your attention on the here and now and being able to move on. I feel like that also is a problem of the movie itself, where yes, the grief of the characters and the grief of the audience is part of it, but that kind of gets in the way of developments that could have been expanded a lot more, such as, you know, we delve into the backstory of Namor in this movie. However, we could have gone so much better, deeper into this. I feel like they could have handled the relationship between, they could have spent a little bit more time delving into that, you know, that relationship between Namor and Shuri. I feel like also that kind of gets in the way of the introduction of Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, who she is another interesting character. It feels like they are building her up to be something more, but she gets, but at the same time, in this movie, she gets kind of, she's important until she's kind of not. So there's that element to it. So there's that bit of messiness where, yes, if the message of the movie is, you know, grief is important, but it gets in the way of living your life after that, yes, but I think that also affects the movie itself, and that can diminish our enjoyment of the movie proper. So that message kind of gets in the way of telling the story that you're also trying to make. Again, I could be reading that wrong. That might be that meta-ness might not intentionally be there, but that's kind of what I was getting from this. So, like I said, it deals with these the central focus. It mainly, how do we as an audience, we as the MCU, move on from Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa, but that gets in the way of the central conflict. That is the conflict between Wakanda and, you know, Shuri and the royal family, and Namor and the people of Talokan, who are in the oceans. And yeah, once we get some good action set pieces, and as far as Marvel action goes, having just rewatched the first Black Panther right before seeing this new one, I would say they're a little, they're fine, but they're a little bit subpar when compared to the Black Panther, just because while the action itself is staged, you know, competently, and the battle set pieces are what you would expect from a Marvel action scene, there's nothing that really stands out per se. There's, you know, 2, maybe 3 main battle scenes, and, you know, they're kind of generic, and we've seen some things before. One is, you know, a car chase, one is a, you know, battle between 2, you know, big armies or whatever. These are the things that you kind of expect. However, I feel like in the first Black Panther, there was a lot more memorable aspects of those battle scenes. Like, take the car chase. You know, both these Black Panthers have a car chase. However, the Black Panther car chase in the original Black Panther, it was, you know, there was a dynamic energy about it. You had the, you know, chasing Claw through the streets of Korea, and, you know, got, you know, Black Panther revealing the aspects of his new suit, revealing the remote piloting rig associated with that. That was a fun action set piece. This car chase really doesn't have a ton of extra things. Also, I think this might be in the trailer. I could be wrong, but there's one scene where Okoye is driving a 70 Hemi Cuda, and she drives her, you know, her Dora Milaje spear through the back of the car itself to form like a ramp to jump a police car, which, for one, you know, purposefully damaging a Hemi Cuda is also, you know, bad, but also, that probably punctured the gas tank, or at the very least sliced the filler nozzle, because that goes right through the back of the car too. So, you know, I'm surprised that that car wasn't like spewing gas all along the road throughout the rest of the car chase. again, that's not really a huge plot detail. If you're worried about spoilers, not a huge plot detail. That's just kind of me nitpicking something in a car chase. But like I said, that's the most memorable thing that I can say about that scene. Whereas in the original Black Panther, we had more of that. Also, another thing in this film about which is odd is the editing, where slow-mo can be used very effectively in action scenes, and it can be also artistic. How Christopher Nolan does that quite well in his movies. However, this film, it tried to do a little bit of that Nolan-esque slow-mo, and once, that's it was the first time that you said, all right, that was kind of a powerful moment. Yeah, let's do the slow-mo. It happened like 5 or 6 more times after that, just ran like slow-mo moments. I'm like, these don't all need to have the slow-mo moments. This is getting weird, and it's probably slowing the movie down more than it needs to. So, the first Black Panther did not have that issue. So that's something that I think also drags this movie down a little bit. Like I said, this movie does more right than it does wrong, and it is a relief that it is as good as it is based on the hurdles that it had to overcome, because it's been well publicized that this movie was going to be very different up until Chadwick Boseman's passing, and then they obviously had to rewrite things. So in that regard, this movie did a good job. It did what it had to do. Standing on its own, however, I would say this is probably upper tier of the Phase 4 properties that we've gotten of the MCU. However, it's not nowhere near the best in my opinion, and yeah, that's considering it feels like it's too mean to say that it's less messy than some of the other Phase 4 properties that we've had, but because that implies that it's horrible. It's absolutely not horrible, but I would say this is it gets given the issues that this movie had to deal with. I would say the fact that it accomplished so much is a plus. However, that doesn't mean that it had these kind of challenges to begin with. Gives it a free pass, let's put it that way. So the issues that it has are still legitimate issues, I feel. So if I was going to give Black Panther Wakanda Forever a letter grade, I would say this is a B+. Nowhere near the worst of the Phase 4 MCU properties ever, and definitely in the upper tier, but it did have some issues and some narrative messiness that did hamper it, and I think it would be wrong to not acknowledge that. So, but still an enjoyable thing. I definitely recommend checking it out in theaters, because some of the action set pieces are fun, especially seen on the big screen. Pretty much every Marvel property is fun on the big screen for those kind of moments. And really, even some of the non-action, the quieter moments have really great scenery and great shot composition, and they look gorgeous on the big screen. So definitely go check that out at your local theater. With that being said, those are my spoiler-free thoughts on Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Now let's get into some spoiler talk as to certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you and where you may have seen them before. Now, I will say yes, it is kind of an homage to the original Iron Man with Riri Williams as Ironheart, and there's more lore in the comics, the tie between Tony Stark and Riri Williams that I know vague amounts of, but nowhere near enough. I'm sure the comic fans will be able to correct me on that one, but it was a fun homage to basically recreate the first test flight scene from the original Iron Man, when during the chase, both Riri goes up to 30,000 feet to knock down a drone that's tracking their progress, which they correctly identified that, hey, oxygen's really thin up in 30,000 feet, and realistically, hey, she probably should have been dead at that point, but hey, we're in a comics universe. We can get away with that sort of thing for brief moments of time. So, but that was a fun little thing. Also, the final battle scene with the Wakandan force on that large boat or whatever, and the Namor and the Talokan people are coming up to to fight on there. I know it's not exact, but I just couldn't help getting vibes of Waterworld. The action scenes set on the Exxon Valdez wreck that they got going on there. So that's interesting parallel to be had there. And speaking of Waterworld and all that, you got the character of Namor and the land of Talokan. I know in comics verse that Namor technically came out first before Aquaman. However, the fact of the matter is Aquaman beat Namor to the punch in the movie cinematic universe, and I think it's you can't help have the comparisons between Aquaman's and Atlantis and Namor and Talokan. And for my money, I think Atlantis, as seen in Aquaman, looks so much better than Talokan. I think it's an interesting look of of their city and their civilization. I like the fact that he brings the sun beneath the ocean through vibranium. That was a fun aspect of that world. Also, I think it's a fun little touch that these warriors are only blue when they are above the water. Below the water, they're completely fine. But also, I find it really weird that they are built up as really, insanely powerful enemies, but their resilience is very inconsistent throughout the movie. Because, in the beginning, you got the Talokan people attacking that explorer ship, and you got the person trying to escape through on the helipad, and she's shooting all these people with her 9mm or whatever, and you see a couple of them go down, and you don't, unless I missed it, you don't see them getting up again. So you would assume that they're dead, and then it's a huge deal when Okoye is battling. I forgot the main guy's dude. They got the hammerhead helmet on, and look over and see the three other guys that she had, we thought that she had completely annihilated them with her spear. I mean, she ran them through with her spear a couple of times, and then they're just getting back up, and it's like, oh man, now things are getting real. But then I think in the final battle, we still see people, getting shot up, and these same warriors getting blasted away and not, resurrecting. So it's like, okay, so are they just really hard to kill, or are they only sometimes hard to kill? What are the rules here? So I think there's a bit of inconsistency on that regard. Let me know if I missed something on that front. But yeah, I will say it was interesting to see that hear that Namor has been identified as a mutant. He could well be a mutant in the comics. I have no idea, but we getting more and more confirmed mutants in the MCU proper. So big things are coming on that, and I'm excited to see where we're going to go from there. But yeah, overall, this really all I had to say was in there. What did you think of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree, disagree? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which will be for Avatar: The Way of Water, which comes out, I believe, December 15th. As well as my next TV review, which will be for Season 1 of Andor, which should be wrapping up here the next week or two. So look for that. And if you liked this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching, but just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.